your rock formations, and all of those things. I was reading through the brochure and I saw His Excellency's message saying we have something for you regardless of who you are at the summit. And it is the political will that we are very, very excited about. And as an association, we are ready to support Oyo State in this drive to promote the state as a tour destination. I would say here that you cannot grow a destination without the tour operators. And so it's important that while we put in place the policies, which is what I noticed, the policies in place, and that is the reason why we've seen the enormous influx of tourists and visitors into the state, reading from the brochure. And to drive in this traffic and these numbers, we must work hand in hand with the tour operators. And while we develop the policies, most importantly, we develop the tour sites, because you have very unique tour sites. I was just listening to one of them here right now, from the lake, the story behind that suspended lake. And I'm saying we can identify, not just creating the road networks and the accessibility to these sites, but also ensuring that you are also able to work in partnership with the tour operators who will drive in the numbers that we need. Not just the numbers, but also drive in the investors that we need. I'm really excited to be here. I thank you so much for this opportunity. And I believe that by the time we come back here again, for this occasion, I believe this is not just going to be the first one, because I know this is the first international summit, but I see it's 2.0. And so I'm sure that we're going to have a 3.0, right? Good. We want to keep having this so that we can measure our growth, our success, and our development. I want to say thank you for inviting me. I believe that as we continue with the panel session, definitely we will take up communiques that we can implement and ensure that we create a tourism destination in Oyo State. Thank you very much.
The phone. I'm sure we can do better than that.
Okay.
Please, let's appreciate her. Thank you. That's the president of National Association of Tour Operators, Ms. Ime Udo, with her goodwill message. Let me also remind all our presenters who are going to give us goodwill message that you are to keep your goodwill messages to 1 minute or less because of our time. Just 1 minute or less for your goodwill message. I'd like to invite no other than the Alado of Adua Waye. For Baba's goodwill message. Please, a round of applause for our distinguished KBSC for his goodwill message. Baba. Thank you.
I'd like to stand upon the existing protocols because of the time constraint. And on behalf of the Royal Fathers in Oyo State, we want to appreciate our amiable Executive Governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, for awakening the development in tourism industry in the state through this summit. We all are aware that our economy started with cocoa, it has come and gone. Oil is also going, but tourism have life sustainability. And to this extent, the government has also involved the local stakeholders, the Obas and other local stakeholders of our cultural heritage in the development of tourism industry in our state, particularly the Iyake Lake, which is the only natural suspended lake just discovered in the old world. And we are sure that this trend will make Oyo State to become the richest state soon in Nigeria and in Africa at large. We therefore want to encourage and appeal to all our guests to come to Oyo State is now a place like no other where you can invest your fund with good return on investment guaranteed. Once again, I want to say good afternoon. It is a pleasure meeting everybody here. Thank you.
For clapping for the KBSC. You know, he knows it, he has seen it, and is inviting us to come, see, enjoy, and invest in Oyo State. KBSC, thank you so much, sir. I'd like to call the next person for a goodwill message, and KBSC, thank you for keeping to time. And I'm sure that the next person will equally keep to the time. As the former president of CCII, please let's make welcome warmly Chief Bayo Ojero. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes for his goodwill message.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Your Excellency, former Governor of Cross River State, Honorable Speaker, Madam Chairperson, the Minister for Tourism, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here this morning, and I've been really excited. And I want to commend the state government for the priority given to tourism. I've gone through the brochure. I've seen all the performances. And I want to say that there is none of the tourist sites in the brochure that has not been discovered the last 50 years. I'm saying this because I worked in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, which then had responsibility for tourism. And I dare say that in the last 55 years, there has never been any administration that has placed emphasis on tourism as part of socio-economic development. I want to urge the state government to live up to our appellation, pace setter state. Let us set pace in tourism, even if only for now, within the Southwest region. Because I believe what Donald Duke did in Cross River State will be a little difficult for us to match for now. In this country, I think Cross River State attracts more tourists internationally than any state. Let us set our own pace for now within the Southwest. Let us continue to prioritize tourism as part of our effort, the government effort to raise our GDP. I congratulate the state. I congratulate the Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, who I would say is the bedrock of tourism promotion in this state. I thank you very much, and I hope, like the chairperson of tour guides, Mrs. Udo, she has challenged you that if this is 2.0, we are looking forward to 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 before this administration goes off, so that a pattern will have been set. The path will have been established for future administration to follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for our father, Chief Bayo Yero, for that wonderful message. To deliver the next goodwill message for this afternoon is the Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Oyo State, Honorable Ojo Abiodun. I'm so sorry, for Oyo State, Honorable Ojo Abiodun.
Ẹ káàsán o, ẹ̀yin bàbá wa àti ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, ẹ̀yin àbúrò wa àti ẹlẹgbẹ́ ọ̀tá ń bí, mo kí yín. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, my greetings. The Speaker of the House, regards. The Honorable Minister for Tourism, I recognize you, ma. Former Governor of Cross River State, a very good ambassador of tourism. You are welcome recognized. Ẹ̀yin kábíyèsí, mo kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa, mo kí gbogbo wa. Well, it's with pleasure that I bring my goodwill on behalf of Southwest Commissioners for Culture and Tourism. We can see that we are moving, and I won't take much of our time, but I will just make reference to one thing that former Governor Donald Luke just told me when I came. He said Southwest has the capacity to turn everything around. Yes, noted. We know that one for sure. The will is there. But I really want to appeal to our governors. My governor is doing very well. Oyo is doing very well. Let us take tourism and culture from 1.8% to 10, 15%. UNESCO level, you say education should be about 14%. And I found out one thing these days that is pretty funny. I don't know. Davido, Burna Boy, they make more money than what we politicians struggle to get in all our elections. I don't think I'm too wrong. A show of Burna Boy or Davido will make 14 billion, 16 billion. In our state, some states do not take more than 6 billion per month. And this thing is a product of tourism and culture. You find that most of our music and our song, they are now in Yorubas. Like my brother sitting down, he has produced films, and Nikulapo is part of this culture and tourism things. We have a lot of things that can be done. Joblessness can be stopped if you promote our culture and our tourist sites. There is no rock science about it. Like I was telling you, look, tourism and culture ministry is a hidden gold mine. We are not developing, we are not taking up. If you go to your different sites, if you see bricklayers singing, they have good voices, but they need support. Nobody is useless naturally. And culture is a natural phenomenon. We have chanters, we have singers, we have drummers. Please, I'm using this to appeal to all of us. Bankers, industrialists, university owners. Look, I know like Dr. Jide Oweye will not promote culture and tourism as in his university, but I want to encourage him now to make it a very important part of the university. The culture and tourism is a very big source that we can make money. And I think we do more and more. On behalf of Southwest Commissioners for Culture and Tourism, we appreciate our governors. They are doing very well. I can tell you about my governor of Oyo State. We all know him. He's very much interested in tourism and culture. He's promoting it. Oyo is doing the same. Ogun is doing the same. Ekiti is not lacking behind. Ondo is trying. We will do our best. And I will take from what Governor Daglu told us just now, that we can really capture what is called tourist points in Nigeria. And with this, please, I'm inviting people to come and see the only UNESCO site in Southwest. That is Osun Osogbo Festival by August. I don't need to market Osun for you when it comes to culture and tourism. We are the basic source of culture and tourism. Really, I appreciate the governor for doing this, and I appreciate my colleague, Dr. Latubo, so for taking the step to organize this thing. And I wish you the very best. And I pray that this will be the beginning of good things to happen in Oyo State. Like you say, Oyo, and you can say, I just say, Oyo Lari, and you can say, àwọn àtúndà wọn ní ọ̀ṣunlé téńté mi wàá mú ìyàtọ̀ ọ̀nù méjèèjì àmọ́ àlera wa náà fún dáadáa ni. We appreciate the governor, and I wish every participant the best attendance. Thanks so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. Before I call the next person, I would like to state that the protocol has already been established, so we can stand on the existing protocol. Right now, I would like to invite on stage a man that is popularly called Mr. Tourism. He is the former governor of Cross River State, in person of His Excellency Donald Duke. We can do better.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I speak for 5 minutes and not 1 minute? I'm sure you didn't drag me all the way here to say hi and bye. Let me commend the government of Oyo State for this event. And it shouldn't just be an event, for tourism is life. It's something that we live with. Now, for me, and I was discussing this on the way here with His Excellency the Deputy Governor, the essence of governance is to ensure the productivity of its citizenry in an orderly fashion. And that's why we send our kids to schools, we build hospitals, infrastructure, and all that, to ensure that every one of our citizens is a productive entity. Now, if you want to do that, tourism is probably the most wholesome way to go about it. Because if I use an analogy, if I say, for instance, we build a first-class hotel that has swimming pools, tennis courts, bars, and all that, you want to ensure that the guests that come to the facility enjoy every aspect of it. Not just going to the swimming pool and getting out, or going to the bar, drinking and leaving, but the ambience, the rooms, the services, right? Everything is right. And that's what tourism is really all about. And that's why I said it's wholesome. You see, if you develop your state wholesomely, tourism would ensure that you invest in education, you invest in healthcare, you provide infrastructure, you securitize your environment, you provide lighting at night, because you want people to come. So you have various sites, like we've seen the beautiful sites you have here in Oyo State. But you want people to roam around the state freely. And guess what? For each visitor that comes to this state, money is spent. We have come all the way from Lagos. We're going to buy fuel here. Probably have lunch or something. That amount that is spent here augments the pockets of one or two other people. And there's a trickle-down effect. Now, it's all about footprints. The more footprints you can get into your state, the better you are for it. Let me share two stories, and I'm sure you know about them. One is a myth, but it's incumbent on what we're doing here today. We all know Dubai very well, and we all know Las Vegas. Let me tell you the story, the mythical, it's not a true story, but it's a mythical story of Las Vegas. There was a guy called Benjamin Siegel. He was known as Bugsy, a mafia guy. And during the prohibition in the United States, early in the last century, literally everything was banned, from alcohol to prostitution, of course, you name it. So the story goes that he goes to the governor of Nevada and says, give me 1 mile, just 1 mile, I'll call it a strip, where all the prohibitions in the United States are not implemented there. I need the legislation. I'm not asking you for money. So he gets the strip, the 1 mile strip. He goes to the mafia and says, guys, listen, if we put money here, develop it, build casinos, hyenas, and side by side, it's an unbelievable sight. But if you do all this and nobody knows about it, it's nothing. So again, please, my brothers and sisters in Oyo State, let's make our state, our country, one of the most esteemed destinations in the world. Thank you.
Well done, sir. That was Mr. Tourism. I think you can do better than that for him. So that's a man who brought Tinapa to the world map of tourism. And so we are delighted to have him in our midst today. Thank you, Your Excellency, for that goodwill message. And it's time for us to hear from the number one marketer of tourism in Nigeria. Is the delectable lady who will be telling us about tourism in our country. Let me welcome very most distinguished personality here today, Honorable Minister for Culture and Tourism. She's in our midst. Please make welcome Ms. Lola Ade John. A huge round of applause for her as she's coming to the podium. Please, let's keep the applause going until the Honorable Minister gets to this podium. I beg of you, please. Let's do that. Let's keep it warm. I can see the Secretary to the State Government standing up. So you can also stand up for her. Thank you, ma'am, for that honor. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you very much. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, Oluseyi Abiodun Engineer Oluseyi, Deputy Governor of Oyo State, my brother, Barrister Abdul Rahim Adebayo Lawal, His Excellency, former Executive Governor of Cross River State, Mr. Tourism, Chief Donald Duke, my auntie, Chief Dr. Mrs. Onikekwo Akonde, CON, second-time former Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Deputy member, distinguished members of the National Assembly present, Honorable Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, members of Oyo State Executive Council, our royal fathers, obas and chiefs, stakeholders of the tourism and my good friend Donald Duke has said it all. He really has said it all. I'll just add a little bit to it. So it's with great honor and enthusiasm I address you at the first International Tourism Summit, Oyo State. I got to hear about this summit through Mrs. Dr. Okupe, and she contacted me and we took it from there. And then, of course, I got invited by the executive governor of Oyo State, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in Ibadan because I came to university here and I spent my time in Oyo State as a child on holiday. So I'm delighted, and I'm even happy to note that what I thought didn't exist. The suspended lake. The only thing I didn't hear was something about fruits in Fiditi, which I am really fascinated with the orchards there. Today, we explore the transformative power of tourism in driving sustainable development, particularly with the enchanting landscape of Oyo State. Under the theme of repositioning tourism as a driver of sustainable development in Oyo State, we recognize its profound impact on economic growth, social cohesion, and environmental conservation. A place with such rich cultural heritage, diverse natural beauty, and warm hospitality stands as a beacon for excellence. Tourism provides a platform for celebrating and preserving our cultural identity. To enable this, we must actively involve our local communities in initiatives and empower them to share their traditions and heritage. Teach them to keep their environments clean, encourage them to be welcoming, caring towards visitors. This is what I refer to as the doctrine according to tourism. Involving people of Oyo State ensures that cultural vibrancy remains accessible to all and allows the unlocking of its tourism potential for future generations. Through strategic investment in infrastructure, product development, and marketing initiatives, new opportunities for entrepreneurship, job creation, and revenue generation within the localities are generated. As the Ministry of Tourism, we are encouraged to collaborate and promote this beautiful region. Together with relevant federal, state, and local government, private sector, and international stakeholders, we will endeavor to showcase the beauty that Oyo State beholds for our generations to come. Let us forge partnerships, share best practices, and work towards a future where tourism enriches lives, residents, and Nigeria and visitors alike. In conclusion, I would like to commend the organizers for this great initiative. I am grateful to the Oyo State government for the very warm welcome we have received today. Thank you, and I wish you all success in our endeavors. God bless you, and God bless Nigeria.
may I ask that we appreciate her a bit more than that. That's the Minister for Tourism and Culture in Nigeria, Ms. Lola Adejohn, who just gave a goodwill message right now. Okay, so the event is still on. We are looking at a number of things to do. We should be going for a tea break soon. We have the order for the tea break very soon. We'll be going for that. And then we'll be looking forward to having the other parts of this event. So we have speakers speaking on different themes on this particular event. We also have panel discussions that will be taking place right here. We'll also have a number of fireside chats on this event as well, this beautiful day. So please, let's just welcome everyone. Let's bond. Let's have networking going on amongst us. I'm told that the executive governor will be here soon too. Just got that information that he's on his way to this event. So we will be having slight music right now, just for us to bond a little bit before we proceed for the tea break, and that will come back immediately as we close the opening ceremony of this event. So music a little bit, please.
Oyo State is blessed with a rich culture and heritage, and people who are friendly to visitors and tourists. Yoruba is the common language spoken here. Our word for welcoming visitors and strangers is Ekabo. The people are about 95% literate. If you speak English, you will be able to communicate easily. You will want to try out our local cuisine. Our favorite is Amala, paired with Ewedu and Bekiri, and assorted protein. We eat it by molding the Amala in small portions. Use it to scoop a portion of the soup. Don't just dip it. Watch your dress as you swallow, as you might make a mess. Now that you have food in your stomach, let's explore Oyo State. Ibadan. The name of the ancient city is said to be an elision of Ibadan, the place where caravans met. It is traditionally a nodal town and a city of hills, which explains one of its foremost tourist attractions, Bowers Tower. The tower was built in 1936 in honor of Captain Bower. It was designed by Robert Taffy Jones, a British architectural engineer. Let's take a walk up the spiral staircase of the tower and get to the top, where we get a panoramic view of the city. Makpo Hall was built in 1925, located at the center of Ibadan. It was central to the British administration. It even hosts a political prison on the rooftop. Today, the hall still contains archives of pictures of past and present Obas in Ibadan, and relics of chains used to hold tax evaders during colonial rule. While it still serves as a research resource for scholars, it is more utilized to host state events. From Makpo Hall, let's go northwest to Alayali waterfront, where you can go on a short cruise with the cruise boat, or take a canoe ride and just drift around the water for a while. Now let's visit a few built environments within Ibadan.
In 30 minutes time. Thank you for coming.
As you leave, when we kiss, I want deep.
As nightfall descends, you may be tired and want to call it a day. That's okay. You can choose to stay in any of the hotels and resorts the city has to offer. Just in case you have the energy for nightlife, here are some clubs to check out. Ibarapa. Just 95 kilometers west of Ibadan is Ibarapa, the city of 7 towns, but it is the hills and caves that interest us. Let's go hiking. Idere Hills. You're rewarded with spectacular sights after a 4-hour hike. If you are lucky, you will meet musicians with their bata drums and they will follow you, singing your praises. Don't get tired yet. We will be making one more stop here in Ibarapa. This time we will be visiting the Igbaolofi Rock and Cave at Lanlate. Next stop, Ogbomoso. Ogbomoso may not have the hills of Ibarapa, but it sure has an ancient recorded history, which the Areago of Ogbomoso, High Chief S.S. Otolori, was happy to share with us.
Ogun Oko Ogbomoso rí lẹ́yìn pé nígbà ogun Fúlàní wà àwọn 143 ni wọ́n sá wá Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ fún ààbò ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà sí àyè wọn mọ́ láwọn olóyè bíi baálẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà mọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà ṣùgbọ́n àwọn kan wọ́n tún dúró l'Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ náà ni.
The modern palace is built at the same spot as the palace of the first Ṣàngó Ògúnmọ́lá, and his palace still stands. Right in this palace lived what is believed to be the oldest tortoise in the world, Alagba. The tortoise died in 2019 at the age of 344. to further buttress efforts of the people of Ogbomoso land to preserve history. There is a Heroes Arcade which features bust sculptures of past heroes and heroines from Ogbomoso and Nigeria at large. We have 2 more steps to make, so let's move on to Okeogun zone. We will make stops at 2 towns in Okeogun. First, Igbeti, and we are back to seeing picturesque hills like this one. Is anyone thinking of a destination wedding on the hills? This is the Iyamakbo Hill, known for the annual Iyamakbo Hill Climbing Carnival every Easter Monday. We also have the Agbeli Rock and the Yamakbo Caves. We move on to Ado-Awaye, and it's time for another hike. This time we're going up the Ado Hills to see the Iyake Lake. Would you like to know how the suspended lake got its name? Let our tour guide tell us.
Èmi kọ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Ọlọ́run ló fi sẹ́ràn mi, èmi kọ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Odò yìí ti wà láti ayé. Ọjọ́ hóhó ló ti wà ńbẹ̀. Ní nǹkan tí Ọlọ́run bá dá. Àmọ́ ìyá kan bẹ. Ìyá tá ń sọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ yìí. Ìyá yìí wá gé kékeré. Ìyá yìí gbọ́rọ̀ odò yìí. Ó sì ń bọ̀ wá sí ìlú kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní ìlú Adó. Ìyá yìí dé eré òkè yìí, ọba omi yìí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ó sì wọnú omi yìí lọ. Ìgbà tó kó sínú omi yìí, àwọn tó ń gbèrò òkè yìí ti mọ̀ pé àwọn ti gba àlejò. Irú àlejò wo ni? Ó jẹ́ obìnrin. Wọ́n fẹ́ kan kéjì gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láyé àtijọ́. Wọ́n pè ó sì sọ̀rọ̀. Kí ló sọ? Ó ní òun ò rọ́mọ bí ni. Láti ìgbà yẹn òun náà dòrìṣà. Ló fi di pé wọ́n fún ní Ìyáké tó bá tásìkò tó nídìí nǹkan tó yẹ kó gbà. Yóò ké.
Our final stop is the zone with the most ancient history in Oyo State. The zone the state is named after. Oyo? Oyo is home to a UNESCO heritage site, the Old Oyo National Park. In the dry season, you are able to explore this heritage site and have access to the ancient ruins. But during the rainy season, you will be content with seeing relics in the museum and some of the animals. Let's go to Sogidi Lake, where we have a lake with fish that are never cooked or eaten. also stop by the museum at the Alaafin's Palace. Here, we see more of the culture, including this car, which was driven by the Alaafin Shiyanbola Onikepe Ladigbolu, who reigned from 1911 to 1944. These are just a few of the many tourist sites that you can visit when you come to Oyo State. Wherever you choose to go, you can be assured that you will have authentic and immersive experiences. So, what are you waiting for? Wouldn't you rather come, see, enjoy Oyo State?
It's Oyo 2024.
Oyo State is blessed with a rich culture and heritage, and people who are friendly to visitors and tourists. Yoruba is the common language spoken here. Our word for welcoming visitors and strangers is Ekabo. The people are about 95% literate. If you speak English, you will be able to communicate easily. You will want to try out our local cuisine. Our favorite is Amala, paired with Ewedu and Begiri, and assorted protein. We eat it by molding the Amala in small portions. Use it to scoop a portion of the soup. Don't just dip it. Watch your dress as you swallow, as you might make a mess. Now that you have food in your stomach, let's explore Oyo State. Ibadan. The name of the ancient city is said to be an elision of Ibadan, the place where caravans met. It is traditionally a nodal town and a city of hills, which explains one of its foremost tourist attractions, Bowers Tower. The tower was built in 1936 in honor of Captain Bower. It was designed by Robert Taffy Jones, a British architectural engineer. Let's take a walk up the spiral staircase of the tower and get to the top, where we get a panoramic view of the city. Makpo Hall was built in 1925, located at the center of Ibadan. It was central to the British administration. It even hosts a political prison on the rooftop. Today, hives of pictures of past and present Obas in Ibadan, and relics of chains used to hold tax evaders during colonial rule. While it still serves as a research resource for scholars, it is more utilized to host state events. From Makpo Hall, let's go northwest to Alayeli waterfront, where you can go on a short cruise with the cruise boat, or take a canoe ride and just drift around the water for a while. Now let's visit a few built environments within Ibadan. As nightfall descends, you may be tired and want to call it a day. Let's go hiking. Idere Hills. You're rewarded with spectacular sights after a 4-hour hike. If you are lucky, you will meet musicians with their bata drums and they will follow you, singing your praises. Don't get tired yet. We will be making one more stop here in Ibarapa. This time we will be visiting the Igbaolofi Rock and Cave at Lanlate. Next stop, Ogbomoso. Ogbomoso may not have the hills of Ibarapa, but it sure has an ancient recorded history, which the Areago of Ogbomoso, High Chief S.S. Otolori, was happy to share with us.
Ogun oko Ogbomoso rí lẹ́yìn pé nígbà ogun Fúlàní wà àwọn 143 ni wọ́n sá wá Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ fún ààbò ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà sí àyè wọn mọ́ láwọn olóyè bíi baálẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà ṣùgbọ́n àwọn kan wọ́n tún dúró l'Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ náà ni.
The modern palace is built at the same spot as the palace of the first Ṣàngó Ògúnmọ́lá, and his palace still stands. Right in this palace lived what is believed to be the oldest tortoise in the world, Alagba. The tortoise died in 2019 at the age of 344. And to further buttress efforts of the people of Ogbomoso land to preserve history, there is a Heroes Arcade which features bust sculptures of past heroes and heroines from Ogbomoso and Nigeria at large. We have 2 more steps to make, so let's move on to Okeogun zone. We will make stops at 2 towns in Okeogun. First, Igbeti, and we are back to seeing picturesque hills like this one. Is anyone thinking of a destination wedding on the hills? This is the Iyamakpo Hill, known for the annual Iyamakpo Hill Climbing Carnival every Easter Monday. We also have the Agbili Rock and the Yamako Caves. we move on to Ado-Awaye, and it's time for another hike. This time we're going up the Ado Hills to see the Iyake Lake. Would you like to know how the suspended lake got its name? Let our tour guide tell us.
Èmi kọ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Ọlọ́run ló fi sẹ́ràn mi, èmi kọ́ Ọlọ́run ni. Odò yìí ti wà láti ayé. Ọjọ́ hóhó ló ti wà ńbẹ̀. Ní nǹkan tí Ọlọ́run bá dá. Àmọ́ ìyá kan bẹ. Ìyá tá ń sọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ yìí. Ìyá yìí wá ọmọ títí kò rọ́mọ bí o. Kí n má fọ̀rọ̀ gùn kí gé kékeré. Ìyá yìí gbọ́rọ̀ odò yìí. Ó sì ń bọ̀ wá sí ìlú kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní ìlú Adó. Ìyá yìí dé eré òkè yìí, ó bá omi yìí ńbẹ̀. Ó sì wọnú omi yìí lọ. Ìgbà tó kó sínú omi yìí, àwọn tó ń gbérò òkè yìí ti mọ̀ pé àwọn ti gbàlejò. Irú àlejò wo ni? Ó jẹ́ obìnrin. Wọ́n fún ìkàn kéjì gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láyé àtijọ́. Wọ́n pè é, ó sì sọ̀rọ̀. Kí ló sọ? Ó ní òun ò rọ́mọ bí ni. Láti ìgbà yẹn òun náà dòrìṣà. Ló fi di pé wọ́n fún un ní Ìyáké. Tó bá tásìkò tó nídìí nǹkan tó yẹ kó gbà, yóò ké.
Our final stop is the zone with the most ancient history in Oyo State. The zone the state is named after Oyo. Oyo is home to a UNESCO heritage site, the Old Oyo National Park. In the dry season, you are able to explore this heritage site and have access to the ancient ruins. But during the raining season, you will be content with seeing relics in the museum and some of the animals. Let's go to Sogidi Lake, where we have a lake with fish that are never cooked or eaten. We also stop by the museum at the Alaafin's Palace. Here, we see more of the culture, including this car, which was driven by the Alaafin Shiyobola Onikekpe Ladigbolu, who reigned from 1911 to 1944. These are just a few of the many tourist sites that you can visit when you come to Oyo State. Wherever you choose to go, you can be assured that you will have authentic and immersive experiences. So, what are you waiting for? Wouldn't you rather come, see, enjoy Oyo State?
It's Oyo 2024.
Check that. Looking for a business account like no other? We are proud to introduce you to First SME. With First SME account, you get to enjoy services such as zero account maintenance charge, access to webinars and trainings, various creative facilities, access to SME Connect portal, directory promotional offers, and lots more. So, open your first SME account and start enjoying these benefits today.
You first bank.
Check that. Looking for a business account like no other? We are proud to introduce you to First SME. With First SME account, you get to enjoy services such as zero account maintenance charge, access to webinars and trainings, various credit facilities, access to SME Connect portal, directory promotional offers, and lots more. So, open your First SME account and start enjoying these benefits today.
You first bank.
Oyo State is blessed with a rich culture and heritage, and people who are friendly to visitors and tourists. Yoruba is the common language spoken here. Our word for welcoming visitors and strangers is Ekabo. The people are about 95% literate. If you speak English, you will be able to communicate easily. You will want to try out our local cuisine. Our favorite is Amala, paired with Ewedu and Begiri, and assorted protein. We eat it by molding the Amala in small portions. Use it to scoop a portion of the soup. Don't just dip it. Watch your dress as you swallow, as you might make a mess. Now that you have food in your stomach, let's explore Oyo State. Ibadan. The name of the ancient city is said to be an elision of Ibadan, the place where caravans met. It is traditionally a nodal town and a city of hills, which explains one of its foremost tourist attractions, Bowers Tower. The tower was built in 1936 in honor of Captain Bower. It was designed by Robert Taffy Jones, a British architectural engineer. Let's take a walk up the spiral staircase of the tower and get to the top, where we get a panoramic view of the city. Makbo Hall was built in 1925, located at the center of Ibadan. It was central to the British administration. It even hosts a political prison on the rooftop. Today, the hall still contains archives of pictures of past and present Obas in Ibadan, and relics of chains used to hold tax evaders during colonial rule. While it still serves as a research resource for scholars, it is more utilized to host state events. From Makbo Hall, let's go northwest to Alayali waterfront, where you can go on a short cruise with the cruise boat, or take a canoe ride and just drift around the water for a while. Now let's visit a few built environments within Ibadan. As nightfall descends, you may be tired and want to call it a day. That's okay. You can choose to stay in any of the hotels and resorts the city has to offer. But just in case you have the energy for nightlife, here are some clubs to check out. Ibarapa. Just 95 km west of Ibadan is Ibarapa, the city of 7 towns, but it is the hills and caves that interest us. Let's go hiking. Idere Hills. You're rewarded with spectacular sights after a 4-hour hike. If you are lucky, you will meet musicians with their bata drums and they will follow you, singing your praises.
Be seated at their designated seats at this time.
Hello?
So please, let's have everyone get on their seats so that we can have the day started already.
Next stop, Ogbomosho. Ogbomosho may not have the hills of Ibarapa, but it sure has an ancient recorded history, which the Areago of Ogbomosho, High Chief S.S. Otolori, was happy to share with us.
Ogun oko Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ rí. Lẹ́yìn pé nígbà ogun Fúlàní wà, àwọn 143 ni wọ́n sá wá Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ fún ààbò. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà sí ààyè wọn mọ́ láwọn olóyè bíi baálẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà mọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ padà ṣùgbọ́n àwọn kan wọ́n tún dúró l'Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ náà ni.
The modern palace is built at the same spot as the palace of the first Ṣàngó Ògúnmọ́lá, and his palace still stands. Right in this palace lived what is believed to be the oldest tortoise in the world, Alagba. The tortoise died in 2019 at the age of 344. And to further buttress efforts of the people of Ogbomosho land to preserve history, there is a Heroes Arcade which features bust sculptures of past heroes and heroines from Ogbomosho and Nigeria at large. We have 2 more steps to make, so let's move on to Okeogun zone. We will make stops at 2 towns in Okeogun. First, Igbeti, and we are back to seeing picturesque hills like this one. Is anyone thinking of a destination wedding on the hills? This is the Iyamakpo Hill, known for the annual Iyamakpo Hill Climbing Carnival every Easter Monday. We also have the Agbili Rock and the Yamakpo Caves. move on to Ado-Awaye, and it's time for another hike. This time we're going up the Ado Hills to see the Iyake Lake. Would you like to know how the suspended lake got its name? Let our tour guide tell us.
To facilitate a no-holds-barred conversation between government, investors, and local as well as international tourism stakeholders and also enthusiasts. This summit will showcase the cultural diversity and tourism potentials of Oyo State. I can promise that participants will learn how these opportunities can be leveraged so that Oyo State and indeed Nigeria can be more integrated into the global tourism industry for sustainable development.
Our first fire chat is about to kick off. Please, let's try to find our way to our seats as the first fireside chat is about to commence.
Shall we hold the paparazzis, the photographs now, so that we can kick off the first fire chat?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our first fireside chat of this summit titled Powering Tourism Through Investment. All our would-be investors, I'm so sure, would be keenly interested in this part of the program. This fireside chat will provide insight into the minds of the people who saw tomorrow. Before the Oyo State government made tourism one of the anchor points drive to the Oyo State economy, these men began investing in the tourism sector. During this fireside chat, we'll hear their stories. Why did they venture into the tourism industry? Why did they choose to invest in Oyo State? Have their investment even paid off? These and more we will learn and will be revealed during the chat. Our fireside chat has 4 participants and an interviewer. And at this point, I would like to invite on stage the Senior Advisor, Red Clay Advisory, Dr. Adu Okupe. Please, a round of applause for her as she comes to the stage.
Welcome, Dr. Okupe. Welcome. No, you do that. You called.
Perfect time, which is immediately after the tea break/lunch, so people are still coming in, but we'll just proceed with our session. And so I'll call on my panelists who are here to talk about how can we power tourism through investments. And so I have Chief Engineer Dotun Sanusi, who is the chairman, Ilaji Hotels and Resorts. I'll just go through all the speakers. We have Chief Kunle Adedigba, who is the Managing Director of Golden Tulip. If you can please make your way to the stage. I have Professor Jide Oweye, who is the founder and Chancellor of Leeds City University, Ibadan. Please, sir, please come to the stage. Thank you. Can we give him a round of applause as he makes his way? Thank you. And I also have Tony Jibuno, who is the CEO, Milking Barn AgriServe Limited. So please, sir, would you also like to make your way to the stage? Thank you. Can we keep the round of applause going whilst they're coming? Thank you. Visionary in Nigerian education, and he holds degrees and served at bachelor, master's, and PhD level, and also served at Obafemi Awolowo University before establishing Lead City University. His leadership aims to instill self-reliance and excellence in students, addressing their core educational challenges. Good afternoon, sir, and it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me.
And then to my left, we have Tony Jibuno, who is the CEO of Milking Barn AgriServe Limited. He's an electrical and electronics engineer. He has a master's in engineering management. He also attended the Harvard Business School General Management Program. He's a seasoned professional with diverse expertise, with over 30 years in oil and gas project management and 7 years in agriculture. Tony is also the founder of Land and Marine Engineering Projects Limited. Thank you, Tony, for honoring our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so our session really is a very short one. Hopefully it will be short and snappy and punchy. But the idea is that if we're talking about how do we power investments for tomorrow, then we need to have a way of understanding those who have already invested in Oyo State, to get a sense of why they decided to invest, how that experience has been, and some of their lessons that they have learned that perhaps other investors can learn from. And this is meant to be an interactive session. So what that means is that I will go through a few questions, but if you do have any questions that you want to ask, you have notepads in the bag that you were given. You should have. You can write this down and give to the ushers, and then someone will collect it and give it to me in about 30 minutes' time. I think the important thing here is to understand, because you might be asking that we have agriculture, AgriServe, we have the university. How does this connect to tourism, and what does this really mean? And it's important to see that tourism has so many layers. It connects to different industries, different sectors. I think when Governor Duke was speaking, he spoke about the importance of education. So the importance of hospitality education, the importance of tourism education. But beyond that, when you start to really think about the tourism value chain, what are you going to give the tourists when they come in? It's really key to say, how do we connect the agriculture? How do we start to connect farm to table? And how do we ensure that our hospitality ventures are connected to the industry in a way that means that tourism becomes a real part of the food distribution system? So I think we'll pause a bit.
Okay, panelists, please just hold a bit. This is announcing the arrival of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Oyo State, the #1 marketer of tourism in Oyo State. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rise and welcome His Excellency Engineer Oluseyi Makinde, FNSE, the Executive Governor of Oyo State. Did I hear you clap? Did I hear you clap? Did I hear a rousing welcome of the engineer of the new Oyo State? Let's remain standing until His Excellency is on his seat. Your Excellency, welcome, sir. Please, let's be on our seats. Please, let's be on our seats. Please, let's settle down. Paparazzi, thank you very much. May I have the attention of His Excellency, please? Thank you. Your Excellency, you're welcome, sir. And thank you for joining us. Just want to inform you that there's a fire chart that is going on right now, and we'd like you to just sit back and enjoy this fire chart as we continue the program. Your Excellency, thank you very much for coming, and welcome. You can proceed.
I'm told that one of our panelists is online, so we're just waiting for him to show up on the screen. So good afternoon, everyone, again. And like we said, I had introduced my panelists, Professor Judy Owoye and also Tony Jibuno. And we have one of our other panelists joining us on Zoom. And so what I had shared earlier was that this session was really looking at the value chain opportunities within tourism and connecting education investment with agriculture investment, and saying that it's important that we see tourism as being multi-sectoral, but also multi-layered. And so, like I mentioned, if you do have any questions, we have the ushers that should be around and that they can get your question. Please write your name and your direct question so that we can attend to that in about 20 minutes. So quick question, I think I'll start with Professor Owoye. Your investments in education are well known, and it's important, like I said earlier, that education is key for promoting tourism to ensure that the right people can drive the tourism agenda. Can you tell us some of your experience and reason for why you decided to invest in Oyo State and how that journey has been so far?
Thank you. Let me start by saying that I was born here, so I have no other way of thinking of moving elsewhere than to settle down to doing those things where I know best, which is Oyo State, especially Ibadan, where I was born some years ago. The opportunity are vast in Oyo State in terms of educational development. The first higher institution in Nigeria, the first university, the University College of Ibadan, started here. And that in itself is an impetus to anybody who is interested in investing in higher education in the state. So all the grants, I would say, so to say, are leveled for anybody who has that kind of interest. And of course, the figures we were given earlier on mentioned that Oyo State is over 90% literate, which means there's a real market, a real need drive for education at all levels in this state. And therefore, it helps in encouraging anybody to choose this state as a place to place such investments.
Thank you, sir. And Antonio, I think I'll come to you. We were speaking earlier about sometimes when we look at investment and we say, okay, why should I invest in a place? There's a strong sense of place that Professor Owoye has referred to. He was born in Oyo State, and this is why he's drawn to investing there. Can you share some of why you have decided to invest in the agricultural sector in Oyo State and how that experience has been so far?
Okay. My experience has been short of awesome in the last 1 year, yes, I would say that. For a couple of years, I've been looking for probably a good site to site the agribusiness we wanted to go into. And I had the privilege of going around most of the southwestern states. I've been to Oyo before. They showed me a couple of sites somewhere in Shein, between Ibadan and Shein Road. I remember it took me almost 2 hours to drive through that road. Even the Fashola site, the first day I came there, it took almost another 1.5 hours to drive from Oyo to Isheyin. And I turned both places down when I went there the first time. You know, but good thing we have a governor like His Excellency Seyi Makinde. The next time they brought me to those places, I was driving past the place and I didn't know I'd gotten to where I was going because the roads were now done. Now, what I've experienced in the last 1 year, I'm not looking for any other place to go to in terms of investment in the agribusiness sector. Because number one, the lands are there. Number two, you have the leadership that is steering the whole state towards that direction. And apart from what we have done so far in Fashola, with my management, I also have decided to establish, the mega farm that we want to do right here in the state. And we're also discussing with the state as to also the tourism aspect of it as well. So my experience here has been very good. And for whoever wants to hear, you can come in and see for yourself.
Oh, wow, that is fantastic feedback for Oyo State in terms of the investor experience that you have had. But can I come back to you quickly to just touch on, yes, you mentioned the fact that they had invested in some road infrastructure, which shows that they took the investment seriously. But what else would you say has enhanced your experience as an investor? Because many times people believe or have this sense that there is an opaque nature of government, and working with private sector and public sector can be difficult. So if you can share.
So for me, the second other thing is the security. Going to the farm doesn't seem like going to the farm. I leave my house in Lekki in Lagos by 5:36 in the morning, and then by 8:30 I'm there in the farm. So the security is good. The people that we've worked with, the interface, the civil servants who are in the ministry and in all the parastatals that we've had to interface, their response time has been awesome. So you ask for something and they respond. So I haven't had any negative side to it. I don't know any other person's experience, but my experiences have been good. The Oyo State, who we've been interfacing in most of our agribusinesses, led by Dr. Akande as well. He's been awesome he's been hands-on in providing all the things that we need. The state has built a farm estate. So basically what they have done is they've created an enabling environment for investors to come in. So they built warehouses, which we could lease for 20 years. They have lands that you could lease for as much time as well. So when we came in, we added, our expertise to the things we were doing, and made what they have provided to suit our businesses. And so far, it's been good. So security is there, government support is there, the infrastructure is there, and the interface, the people managing those also are people who understand it. Now, in Ibadan, IITA is there, for instance. We have technical service agreements with them. Friesland, who is our off-taker for the milks that we produce in our farm, is also, they have, Oyo State is the largest, they have the largest milk collection centers in Oyo State, in the whole of Southwest. So everything ticked the box for me, on why we should invest in Oyo State. I'm not from Oyo State, I'm from Niger Delta. So me coming here and telling you this, I'm not just singing praises.
Thank you so much, Tony. And I think that your example, okay, we'll clap for the state, fantastic. I would say that your example shows lessons that we can learn in tourism, right, in terms of the tourism sector. So thinking about the infrastructure that is required, I usually talk about the importance of a tourism system, so that you have the services, facilities, the people, transportation, communication, and the attractions, that these are all well structured and organized so that an investor, like you have said, can simply come into the state and it's easy for them to get things started, as opposed to having to invest across all the different components of the system. So I would say that these are some lessons that the tourism Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture can also take to ensure that the investors that are coming into tourism have this awesome experience that you speak about. And Professor Oyo, I'll come back to you to just really talk a bit more about what you have shared in terms of the sense of place. Because for you, investing in Oyo State, of course, it has to make business sense, but there's also been that sense of responsibility towards developing, harnessing, and building where we are from. And I think that nowhere else is that more important than in tourism, where what we have to sell is who we are and where we're from. So I'd like to know some of what your insights are in terms of what Lead City perhaps is doing for the future and some ways of overlap with the tourism industry for tourism education.
If you notice that a lot of the educational programs we have had a lot of linkages with activities of the Oyo State government. The just short, about a month ago, there was this cultural event that was organized by the Oyo State government, the Ilaji Center, and Lee City University, which was titled Omoge Asha. It was a way of promoting our dances, our culture, our artifacts in the state. And we all came together and we celebrated what we have. So it's like today we are doing a follow-up of what we did last month. And even currently now on the campus, that the students are having what they call their annual cultural week. A lot of things are going on that indicate that those who are students from other states, from the north, from south, from the east, they have an opportunity to share what they brought from their own areas with what we have here in Oyo State. So the institution has created an opportunity for a mix of understanding about what culture looks like in the entire country. And also many of the programs we have a program on, academic program on tourism and culture, both at the undergraduate and the postgraduate level. This provides opportunity for those who are interested in investing their future in the area of developing the tourist environment, the tourist resources we have, to come and learn something that will help them to be able to conceptualize what they are doing and to promote establishment of such facilities. And as was said earlier on by Governor Duke, culture is about the tourist knows where he's going. He already has an idea of where he wants to go. And therefore, sometimes it is not everybody that travels somewhere and you go into shops, or you go and look at rivers, or you go and look at mountains. Sometimes people travel and because they have interest in education, the places they go to see, like I do, are the schools. They want to see how the schools look like, how the schools were established, what happened, what they are developing, what the future and relationship between the town and the gown. So precisely, us as an educational institution has a lot to do with promoting culture and partnering with the state government. In the last few months, we have been working also with both the education ministry and lately the health ministry about developing some kind of linkages in terms of our contribution to healthcare within the state. Because we have a College of Medicine and Health Sciences, which has programs like dentistry, MBBS, radiography, medical lab science. All the students taking this program, they need a practical base. So their clinicals will have to happen within those establishments already established by the Oyo State. And therefore, we have been promoting a lot of connections in this area. And very soon, we are hoping that just as the university is trying to build its teaching hospital, the construction we started a few months ago, it will still require to work more with the state health facilities. And this kind of town and town relationship can only happen in an environment that is conducive, where you have leadership that is visionary, like the one we currently have in the state. And interestingly, since our university started in 2005, we have been very lucky to have very visionary leaders in Oyo State. Up till now, with the executive governor, Governor Seyi Makinde, who we welcome In fact, the very first month he came, we invited him to come and declare open our most recent buildings on campus, which was the Senate House. And since then, we have been working together, and we believe that there's a lot that we can do to push the state forward as an educational institution. And we will continue to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. And I would say that having the governor even here shows the importance that they place on tourism development. But one thing that you touched on that I think is very key, actually two things, are the importance of education and development in terms of the culture, understanding the culture, celebrating the culture, amplifying it, and also that sense of how do we really harness tourism by ensuring that across the value chain, people are trained, that understand what tourism can mean from an economic, an environmental, and a socio-cultural perspective. But I would say the other thing that you touched on, which is perhaps one of the challenges that Nigeria has when you talk about tourism, is safety and security. And the sense of health care, right, is part of how you show tourists that you take their safety seriously, so that in case of crisis or in case of issues, there are opportunities there that we can invest in, so that people know that if anything happens to them while they're in Oyo State, there are world-class facilities that are available. Even beyond that, there are health tourism opportunities as well. So I'm told that Chief Adedigba is online and that he's here somewhere, which he will speak to us. And so Chief Kunle Adedigba is the Managing Director of Golden Tulip, like I said earlier. Oh, fantastic. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Can you just say something again? Right, I'll just ask him a question, because I would say that, and I hope he can hear us, that he has invested in the hospitality sector. We know Golden Tulip, and we know some of his other interests that he has in Ibadan. And so the question that I would really like to ask is, what is the vision that has driven your investments in hospitality in Oyo State? And can you just share a bit more about the vision for Premier Hotel as well? He's smiling. We can't hear you. I think I'll just go to Tony Jibuno, and then we'll come back to him, so that when the audio is clear, then we can connect with him. But okay, so yeah, so Tony, my final question, because I'm told we only have a few minutes left, is really, if you knew 10 years ago what you know now, what are the two key things you might have done differently?
I probably would have gone into agribusiness a lot earlier.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I spent the last 25 years working in the oil and gas sector, and nothing of that 25 years prepared me for the 1 year I've had to spend in active agribusiness. And the opportunities are endless. You know, not just that, the value chain is endless. Now we're trying to add tourism to the agribusiness as well. So I feel I should have done this much earlier. So, but it's never too late to start. We've started, and I think the future is bright for us.
So that's one. The second lesson?
So the second lesson is what His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River, the former Governor of Cross River, said. Say concept is good, you know, but it doesn't end with concepts. You know, people make concepts happen. So yes, today we're sitting here as people who have invested. There are a lot more people out there who probably have more money than I do, who could also come in to invest more. You know, so a lot of good ideas are floating around, but people need to walk the walk, you know, in addition to just talking about it.
Thank you. So it's about saying that things don't just happen, people make things happen, but also if you are looking to invest in Oyo State, you have to, it's already too late, so tomorrow is the next best time. You should have started yesterday. So I will go back to Chief Adedigba before I come to Professor Oweye. I don't know if you heard my question, but it was really concerning your vision for investing in hospitality in Oyo State, looking at Golden Tulip, as well as the recent investment in Premier Hotel. I think that there's still some technical glitches, and I would say that it's almost as though it doesn't matter what the venue is.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you for giving me
increase
the
the audio
and
a bit.
the platform. Oyo State. Good noise. Oyo State is JDC Media. Can you mute, please? Oyo State occupies a unique position in the country. If you are coming from Ondo, you pass through Oyo State. If you are coming from Osun, you pass through Oyo State. Even if you are coming from Ekiti, it enjoys the closeness to Lagos. Over the years, the last 60, 70 years, it has been the center of a lot in Southwest Nigeria, from being the capital of Southwest Nigeria to being the location for the first television station, to being the location for the University of Ibadan, for the University College Hospital, for the UI Zoo, for the Agodi Gardens. So Oyo State has always occupied a pride of place. That's one. When you ask me for the reason. So Oyo State has indeed been a pace setter over the years. Secondly, I was born in Ibadan. I grew up in Ibadan. I have fond memories of Ibadan. That's reason 2. Reason 3, and importantly so, is that Oyo State is ripe. Oyo State is very, very, very close to being ready. What do you need for tourism? You need, in our own case, infrastructure. In this case, roads. And I can see the government making giant strides in making Oyo State, Ibadan in particular, a nexus of transportation. That improves the ease of getting in and out of Oyo State. The airport, the connection to the airport, the rail line, the connection to the rail line, and then the transport hubs all springing up around the state. More importantly, the quality of security and tranquility that has enveloped Oyo State in the last, I would say, 5 years and even for more. So Oyo State is relatively safe. It is secure. It has good people. Historically, it is the place to be. And importantly, emotionally, it is the place for me. For those who are still considering Oyo State, now is the time. Asset prices are lovely. Oyo State is 1 hour away from Lagos. Lagos has 20 million people in a location that is about 1/5 the size of Lagos. So Oyo State is ready. There's money to be made in Oyo State. And in terms of approvals for development and construction, I think the government has done very well under the leadership of His Excellency Engineer Sheyi Makinde. So you will get your approvals on time. There's security, there's tranquility, the nearness to Lagos is there, the infrastructure is good, but there's a lot of room for improvement. The airport is now more active, there's airbase, there's air green or Greenpeace, the rail line is there, the IITA is there, so Oyo State is ready. And I saw that, and very quickly I plugged into it about 7 years ago with Golden Tulip, and then 1 year ago with Premier. The vision for Premier is not a hotel. The vision for Premier is a destination. It's not about sleeping and drinking. It's about culture. It's about tradition. It's about history. It's about creating a location that envelopes you, that brings you to terms with comfort and with luxury. It is about a look. It's about putting Oyo State back on the tourism map. So I encourage everybody. The assets are there in Oyo State, from the UI Zoo, which used to be the place to go to in the 70s and 80s, to the Agodi Gardens, irrespective of what people say, to the Hanging Lake, to the other lakes in Okeado, to, at the very basic, the very good people of Oyo State, to the Betty Mines, to and of course, there's still an opportunity for collaboration, even with Oyo State, in terms of Ile-Ife, even in Oyo State, in terms of collaboration with Oyo Town and its historical importance. So Oyo State is ready. Oyo State is like a hidden gem. It will not be hidden for so long. The government is doing a great deal of work. And like I mentioned, the assets are there, the history is there, the peace is there, infrastructure is there, and most importantly, the good people of Oyo State. They're there, they're waiting to receive you. So if you ask me and you say, why am I investing in Oyo State? I was born there, I grew up there, there's money to be made there, and there are good people there.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Adediga.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I would say from what he has said, it's really about saying if you're trying to look at tourism and to invest in tourism, the state already has the key components. The environment is beautiful, it is serene, it's tranquil. And so these are certain assets that make Oyo State conducive for tourism investment. I believe our time is up now, but I also know that this conversation isn't over. In terms of if you have questions for the panelists, I know that we can come and reach them when you see them. Thank you so much to Professor Jide Oweye. Thank you so much to Tony Jibuno. And thank you so much to Chief Adedigba for spending time with us to share with us some of your lessons and some of the reasons why you've invested in Oyo State as a way to also see how we can power tourism through investments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adokwe. Please, can we give out the panelists a round of applause? A big one. That's our fireside chat. The panelists and the moderator will please come this way so that you can take your picture this way, so that you can take your picture. Yes. Thank you so much for that wonderful job. So please, the pictures can be taken right here. That was an inspiring interview, you agree with me?
I know, right? And very impactful as well.
Indeed. These are men who saw tomorrow. You could hear what Dr. Adedigba was saying about how he came to invest in Ibadan because he is from here.
You can say that again. And now tomorrow is here. Oyo State has a governor and government that have decided that tourism is one of the key sectors that will drive the state economy. And they are putting their money where the mouth is at this summit.
I couldn't have said that better. So thank you, Boko, for acknowledging that fact.
All right. It is now time for our first panel discussion. And this panel discussion is about tourism trends beyond 2024. Investors who follow the market should pay close attention to this panel discussion because this discussion will provide key insight regarding where the global and local markets are headed. Questions that will be answered during this session include: where are tourists going and what sort of tourism experiences are they actually looking for? What adjustments do investors need to make to accommodate the shift, if any, in tourism interest? And more importantly, what does the Oyo State government need to do to ensure that the state benefits from the local and global tourism trends in 2024 and even beyond 2024? To do justice to this, we have 4 panelists and also a moderator. The moderator for this session is the Head Tourism and Creative Business, Sterling Bank PLC Nigeria, in person of Abiola Adelano. Please, let's give her a round of applause as she comes forward.
Good day, His Excellency. All protocol duly observed. Without wasting time, permit me to invite my co-panelists on this podium. I have Ambassador Ikechi of Akwaba. Please clap for Ambassador Ikechi, please. I have Miss Marina Bland from the United States of America. Please clap for her. Yes. I have Dr. Gabe Ona. And I have Mr. Wale Olapade. Thank you. Good day once again, His Excellency and our distinguished delegates, our amazing panelists. I'm honored to be moderating this session today. And we'll be talking about the tourism trend beyond 2024. Tourism is life. Tourism is about movement. And when people move, money moves. Meaning that we cannot overemphasize the importance of tourism. And we are more than happy that we have a state governor that is really driving this, and he has brought all of us together from far and near to have this conversation. At the end of this discussion, we'll be able to have an insight on the global trend, how Oyo State can leverage and take advantage of the global and even the domestic trend to actually push Oyo State to the world, to identify all of the resources we need and what we need to project to attract tourists to our state. After the end of this session, we'll be taking some few questions if we have the time. And please feel free to use your question pad and write your name, please. Yeah, so we'll be going straight into the session. I'm going to start with Sir Honor. Sir Honor is the certified UNWTO Destination Manager and Tourism Digital Marketer from Calabar. He's also the chairman of the CRS Carnival Commission, overseeing the International Carnival Calabar since 2005. You're welcome, Dr. Honor.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, please clap for him. So we're talking about the international trends in tourism. So let's take an inside-out look into the trend. What trends do you find among Nigerians? What type of tourism do you think interests Nigeria?
Well, I think, first of all, we like to look at what trends are. Trends are actually evolving patterns that people are interested in, that pull factor. And a few minutes ago, we had the entire reason for being in Oyo State wrapped up in what my boss said, Governor Duke. What will make people continue to come or to go to a given place? And for Nigeria, primarily, our sites are numerous. I just saw the governor's presentation on this paperwork. Over 150 sites. That's already an oversupply. So, and the chief who spoke earlier, the KBSC, talked about the trends that are already on in Oyo State. These are usually moderated by the behavior of the tourist, but you cannot cook this nice meal and leave it at home. You must advertise, you must publicize. That pull factor. And that brings me right back to the story of Carnival Calabar. Calabar was the end of the town, end of the country. You must plan to visit. And Governor Duke and that great team decided to take on this subsector and turned our culture, turned our heritage to that oil well, that now people say, is there no carnival this year? Is there no carnival next year? So these are the trends. What is the currency? Is the currency of the sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ona, for sharing that insight. You said that we need to advertise what we have. Without advertising, without marketing what we have, people don't know what we have.
Very
and
well.
we have rich culture and heritage as a state. I'll put the same question to Ms. Bland. I know you came from United States of America. For tourists looking to visit Africa, what do you think they're looking?
So thank you first for inviting me here. I've come a long way, and so I'm glad to be here in everyone's presence. I travel the world quite extensively, and I experience tourism at various levels. And I would say there's 5 core things that I think, that I feel are very important when you're developing tourism in any place you go. Is you have to recognize you're competing not just for tourism in your country, but if you're trying to reach a global market, you're competing against every other nation in the world and what they're doing. So the 5 things, and I'll be real specific on those, the 5 things that I see in terms of the future and what's trending in the future. 1, sustainability. If you're not paying attention to how what you do is impacting this environment, you're in the wrong place. The emissions, everyone's trying to get to zero emissions. We're talking about recycling, we're talking about repurposing, we're talking about those types of things that's less impact to the environment. There is so much waste in this world, and people are kind of getting tired of it. So people in the future are looking for those countries and those products that are talking about sustainable solutions, renewable energy, all those things are in that conversation. Authenticity. Everywhere I go, I'm so stunned at how we're losing our authenticity, who we are. People don't want to come here to see America. They don't want to come here to see Great Britain. They don't want to come here and see Spain. They want to come here and see Africa, Nigeria. They want to see that culture. So the future is about authenticity, being who you are, being proud of that, and showing that. Experiential tourism. People want to experience what you experience, not just watching the show. They want to participate in the show. They want to learn to dance. They want to make the costumes. Simplicity. I see a lot of waste, a lot of big things happening. People think big is more is more. No, less is more. Refined, elegant, simple, sophisticated, and safety. I think safety will be a trend forever. No one wants to go somewhere they're going to feel unsafe. And so more and more people will want to be safer, and there are safety solutions and ways that we deliver transportation and hotels, everything. And we have to be on top of those elements.
Thank you, Ms. Bland. You said authenticity. Thank you. Please clap for her. Talked about being authentic. We really don't have to copy. We have our very rich heritage. We have our very rich culture. And that is what the Western world wants to see.
Yes.
No American want to come here and see the high-rising buildings. No. They want to see what we have as people. And you talk about sustainability. We need to begin to think sustainability when we're planning our tourism. We have the green tourism, the green space, and all of the things we do, cycling. We need to put that into consideration. Ms. Bland, this is your first time in Oyo State. Can you tell us some of the potential you think investors can get to in Oyo State? Or do you think there's any potential for an investor in Oyo
Well,
State?
first of all, I just want you all to know my ancestry is Nigerian.
Amazing.
So I care about what happens here. I know my God didn't send me here for nothing. So what I see lots of potential, but I'm going to tell you where the potential I see lies. It's in the people. I don't think we should get stuck in places and things. It is about the people. People come, people will make the difference. It's when I engage with the people and I see their heart and I see their love and care for their country. That's what people want to see. That's what I love. And it's people who create buildings. It's people who create roads. It's people who create the food and all of that. And when people are not in the right place and we're not honoring the people, it doesn't work. It's the people who connect me to this country. And that's what I love when I come here. And people tell me all the time, oh, Marina, what sites have you seen? I said, I don't even really know just yet. I've been engaging with the people. I love the people. I love when they take me to the restaurants, show me their favorite places, show me their favorite attractions. I love it when they're old people, the young people, and everybody in between. I like hanging out with the young folks and learning how to dance, the newest songs and music. I love all of that, and that's the future. So I think we should highlight those things. And everybody at every stage of every level should be engaged in that experience.
Thank you very much, Ms. Plant. She said our assets is our people. And luckily we have our honorable minister here. We need to engage in more training of our people because our asset is our people, you know, which is very important. Thank you, Ms. Bland. I will now go to Ambassador Ikechi. Ambassador Ikechi is the CEO of Nigerian Travel Consultant, of Aquaba Travel Agency. Let's talk more about the people, about what people are seeking. When people from North America and Europe think of tourism in Africa, they always think of safaris. Do you think we have more than safaris in Africa?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, please, let me correct myself. Ambassador Ikechi Uko is a Nigerian travel consultant, he's a journalist, he's an author, and he has shaped the West African tourism for over 2 decades. The popular Aquaba event, he is the convener of Aquaba event. Thank you. Apologies.
Okay. Thank you. I also forgot 7 wonders of Nigeria.
7 wonders of Nigeria. Yeah.
No problem. For me, I don't think anybody outside Africa is a tourist in Africa. I don't bother about them. There are 1.3 billion to 1.5 billion people in Africa. And I've spent the last 20 to 30 years trying to get those people to travel within Africa. Africa gets less than 60 to 67 million visitors a year. France gets more than that, the whole of Africa put together. Miami, Florida gets more than the whole of Africa put together. So anybody who is investing in tourists from outside Africa is sitting on a long thing. And that's exactly why our tourism policy and tourism master plan failed, because we premised it on non-African tourists. There are 1.4 billion people in Africa. Get 100 million of them to travel in Africa, every African country will be rich. So for me, what I think we should do, and this is the future, and some countries have figured it out and they are working on it. When we started the Pan-African travel some years ago, people thought I was mad. But 6 to 8 years later, almost all the countries started giving me awards. Why? They found out the richest travelers in Africa are Africans. Nigerians spend more money in any African country they go than any European or American traveler. Today, Kenya has made it a policy to market Uganda, to market Nigeria, to market to South Africa, because those people spend more money in Kenya than the European tourists. South Africa made that. Dubai spends money to get Nigerians to go to Dubai because we spend more money buying things than those Europeans. So why are we looking for people in another place when we have everything we need here? We can invite her because she's brethren, she's our blood. But for the other people, we shouldn't even bother. They can come as complimentary. So for me, the future of tourism in Africa is with Africans. The future of tourism in Nigeria starts with Nigerians. So what would they want? I want to commend the governor. I climbed the Dere Hill yesterday, and we were escorted by the hunters. And they told us you gave them vehicles. They actually brought a hilux to present to the Onidere. And that is a very fantastic thing, because I felt safe having to climb to the summit. And if we were able to build these 2 products that are already successful, sir, hiking is the new epidemic of tourism in Nigeria. The second product is, there is, Kunle Afaloyan is sitting there. Entertainment, the young people want entertainment. The young people, they want to experience food, and they will do hiking. So if we promote entertainment products and we promote hiking for these new emerging people, you will get a lot more Nigerians coming to Oyo State. You will get a lot more Africans coming to Oyo State. Because today the biggest export out of Nigeria is an entertainment product. People will want to experience and buy more of that. So my recommendation is that the future of tourism and travel in Nigeria and in Oyo State resides first Nigerians, then Africans, then our diaspora family, before we talk about the non-Africans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ikechi. That was such a great insight. Nigeria needs to visit Nigeria. The future of tourism lies within Africa and it lies within Nigeria. Then we can now go and meet the world. And he also spoke about the need for us to take entertainment more seriously. There are a lot of private sector doing amazing things that the government needs to partner or collaborate with, for us to actually project tourism in our state. I'll be going to Sir Honor. Given your experience with government, I want to ask you a budget-related question. Looking at the budgetary allocation to tourism, do you think that subnationals are following tourism trends and doing their best to support tourism?
Well, incidentally, poor budgeting has remained a factor and a bane for the success of this sector. We've always said that tourism has remained an orphan in Nigeria. It takes just one leader in a period, and that's why we call Governor Duke the meteoroid. He came, he took on the sector, semi-bullish, if you like. Government must spend money in product development, government must spend money in human resource development, and of course, top packaging. Today, I see the hanging lake out there. For the private sector to climb up that place and establish a hotel, how much? So it falls back on government. But the benefit in this sector, humongous. How much can we pay for peace? So modern destinations like Cape Town, modern destinations like Jamaica, government is still taking the front seat. And I think there's a wonderful example here. For the governor to convoke this summit at all, but he mustn't stop here. He must go the whole hog. And I'm happy that His Excellency Governor Duke agreed to come here. He's a living witness. This sector gestation is quick. USAID, United Nations World Tourism Organization, they've discovered that this sector, if you get it right, the young ones will easily get engaged, and the return on investment for the people out there is quick. How much can we pay for peace? It stabilizes the community. But budgeting, we mustn't look back. I saw somewhere that 1.3 billion was the budget for Oyo State. I'm sure that is toss for a start. We went to identify 6 benchmark identities. We were 24 of us that went to Jamaica on our first 1 year. Thereafter, we took on different icons of the tourism sector, looking at slave history, looking at the wildlife, looking at the mice, and of course, knowledge tourism. People are traveling now to learn. It's no more just for leisure. And Oyo State is already blessed. But with literacy level of 94.2%, it is push and start. But human resource training cannot be put to the back distance, and it has to do with budgeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Honor. He said we're grateful that His Excellencies are seated here. We need to invest to actually get return on investment. So we need that political will, which we're happy that is happening right now. Because without that political will, this event won't be happening. And it's going to be beyond talk show. We believe that there's going to take action even after all of these insights. I'll be going to Mr. Olakwade. Mr. Olakwade is the tourism editor, team leader, business, Nigerian Tribune. He's a journalist. He's a veteran journalist. A key barrier to investors is transparency or openness regarding to who to speak to and how to ensure their proposal passes through the right channels. Can you speak to the readiness of Oyo State in terms of this barrier?
Thank you very much. There is barriers in everywhere, in everything, in every sector. And barrier is there for people to create solutions for. For investors, openness and transparency can only be solved when they, on their own, have full information of what the state wants to do. Investors will not come without the preparedness of the state and seeing what is on ground. Then the state must itemize its comparative advantages, because every investors look at what they want to pick. You must have your comparative advantage in tourism as it relates to the trends in Africa and Oyo State. You cannot use the trend of Gambia for Nigeria, because the domestic market is different from theirs. Look at what you have here. That's what you're going to use. Another thing is for them to look at the low-hanging fruits. If an investor is coming, he must look at the low-hanging fruits, and which they will first attend to recoup their money. There is low-hanging fruit for short time, and there is long-hanging fruit. If you're talking of low-hanging fruit, look at what you can do in the urban vibes, the establishment of hotels, have leisure centers, and some of all these things. And if you look at a later one, we're talking of the Idire Hills and the Adoawaye, Iyake Lakes. Somebody said earlier on that we can do a kind of hotel and we can build a resort, a getaway resort in Adoawaye, Suspended Lake. That will give people more things to do. Experience is what tourism is all about. That's the new trend. Anywhere you go, you want to have an experience. You want to immerse yourself in that society, that environment, that community, and do what they are doing. So by doing that, you'll be able to get what actually you want. Then I've talked about experiential product and services with real-time activities. When you say real-time activities, what is actually happening? What people will relate with? Then that will bring benefit to the states.
Thank you, Mr. Olakwade.
You're welcome.
We need to turn our attractions to destinations, because experience is actually very important. I have a follow-up question to that question. Do you see the Oyo State government keying into these trends? So if you are in government, what will you be doing to position Oyo State to key into the tourism trends?
If I'm in government, I don't assume, but let's start from this place. Oyo State is the state of the first. It has a lot of first. And the governor took a step. One, creating a standalone culture and tourism ministry. That is the first step in this. But it does not stop at that. It does not stop at that. You need to start drawing roadmap. You need to know what the aim and objective of what you are doing. You need to have a legislation. You need to have policy to drive this, to make it a sustainable one. So those are the things you have to put into place. A roadmap, real-time, practical commitment, and sincerity of purpose.
Thank you very much.
Also, let me add one more. Funding, you have to bring funding, which is very, very important.
I know overemphasize
yes,
that. Yeah.
you bring funding, then allocations should be a real-time allocation. If you have a program, they should meet up with a prompt.
Amazing. The governor
exactly.
is there listening to you. All noted. So quickly, let me quickly go to Ambassador Ikechi. You do events that promote tourism. What has been your experience seeking sponsorship from government? Has it been fantastic so far? Just be real.
Okay. Out of the top 5 tourism events in Africa, Akwaba Travel Market, which is 20 years old, is the only one that is not subsidized by this government. Ndaba, South Africa gets more than 10, 20, $50 million a year. Magical Kenya gets more than $4 million a year. Sanganai, Zimbabwe gets $800,000 to $1 million a year. Poete, Pearl of Uganda, gets about $600,000. We are number 4 in Africa. We get nothing from any government. We get support, yes, once in a while from Lagos State government, and we get participation. So we had survived, and I normally boast at conferences, meetings, that we are the only viable travel expo in Africa because the only one that have survived without government support. We do need it because we could scale. We are the biggest in West Africa. We could become the biggest in Africa if we get support. So we'll be happy to have government support. But I need to leave a point here, which I think is important here. There are 2 types of travel most people will do. One is optional, one is obligatory. Leisure and the others are optional. You can choose to go or not to go. Religion, health, education, MICE are usually obligatory. If you're a member of MBA, you're most likely to attend an MBA conference. If you're a member of an association, that's why we are here. This is a MICE event. It looks obligatory for most of us in tourism, so we have to come here. So Akwaba have survived because it belongs to that echelon of obligatory things. If you take the top 4 destinations Nigeria go to, 2 out of the 5 are obligatory destinations. Religious tourism, medical tourism, educational tourism. Those are obligatory. So the future has to be an obligatory type of tourism, not optional. MICE belongs to, though it's a weaker form of obligatory, but it's obligatory.
Thank you, Ambassador EKG. And lastly, to Miss Bland, what are the barriers you probably experienced coming to Oyo State for the first time, or coming to Nigeria for the first time?
So I will tell you, and I'm going to be very honest. That's all I know how to be. One of the biggest barriers that I faced was, first of all, everyone who told me I shouldn't come. And why am I going? I've faced those barriers in my own household, my friends, my family, everybody. Why are you going to Nigeria? They're crooked, they're corrupt, they're thieves. I will have to tell you, I had an experience where I did lose $6,000 to a Nigerian. I won't get into the details. So I had to question what they were saying myself. It disturbed me. So that is something that has to be dealt with. The dishonesty of a few, because it's not everybody. I know that doesn't exist everywhere. And there's corruption in every country. So what they may point and say about Nigeria, I know it happens all over the world, because I travel the world and I deal with people at every level. But it is an obstacle that has to be overcome, the reputation that we're good, we're God's chosen, we will survive, we will thrive, we will be the best. I would say the other obstacles I do see a lot of selfish interest. When I travel, and like I said, I deal with people at every level. And I see people that are more concerned about themselves than they are concerned about the greater good. And people can recognize that when they come and visit. They can sense that, they can see that. And unless we're all working together for a greater good, we will never be successful. I would say infrastructure is a big thing, really big. That is a barrier. It is hard to get here. There's not a lot of flights, first of all, to get here. So getting here is always a major thing. Having to spend money on a visa that now costs $170, that's a barrier. That's an obstacle. People can make that choice. I could stay in a hotel for 3 nights for the cost of the visa. So people will make those choices. But infrastructure in terms of roads and lighting and just safety and lots of different things I see.
Thank you very much, Ms.
That still needs to evolve. Thank you.
Thank you for that honest feedback. We have the federal government and the state governments here. So, I mean, your feedback are well noted. To round up this session, we will quickly take in 30 seconds each for each panelist. We want you to share a specific advice with Oyo State government. How can they key into these tourism trends in 30 seconds for each panel? Let's start with Blanche.
Engage the people. Engage the people. Have a plan. Put together a team. As a matter of fact, this group that's speaking, this is your team. This is your committee of experts and people who can guide you. Put together a plan, but more importantly, execute it. You can't keep losing plans because administrations change. There has to be some continuity. And that's when things don't survive. So I would say those 2 things. And I would say the last thing is that we're in a global world that we're in. And anybody that's only thinking local is missing it. Yes, you have to have local, national, But you got to have global. The world is moving global. Everything is more global. And if you're not thinking that, you're not in the right place.
Thank you very much, Ms. Band. Ambassador Ikechi.
Prioritize. You cannot sell everything at the same time. The problem is government has to touch every local government, everything. But I started 7 Wonders when I found out that the only way you can succeed in tourism is to focus on few products. Take them, then every other thing will be added. Every country that you see sell wildlife, they don't make the money from wildlife, but they use it as a point of the spear. So we need to be able to prioritize. Take 2 locations, 2 products, and drive it with all your might.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Nkechi. Engage, prioritize. Sir Honor, please, in 30 seconds.
Your Excellency, mine is planning has to be deliberate. We cannot just happen on it. We cannot be in a hurry to begin to bring in the sheaves or the money, provided the community is at peace and the young people are engaged. What has become of the great story of Ibadan, the city of the red roof? What has become of our storytelling? These are the things people want: authentic culture. Engage the local community. Let it be bottoms up. And at the risk of being misunderstood, Carnival Calabar that I heard in the last 23 years has remained the only such government concept that has stayed the time because we engage with the community.
Thank you very much.
I took a taxi yesterday from the train station, and the young fellow spoke to me about the governor who took the train severally and engaging with the youth. These
Amazing.
are the things that people like to
Authenticity is very important. Thank you, Sir Honor. Mr. Olakpade, please, in 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. We advise the state to create a flagship event that all other tourism sites will fly on its feather. With that flagship event, you'll be able to sell other events. Just like the Carnival Calabar, they have things beyond the Carnival Calabar, but when they come for the Carnival Calabar, they look at the Obudu and some other area. So Oyo State needs to have a flagship event that we promote all other events. Just as Mr. Ike said, you cannot promote 2 things at a time.
Absolutely.
Take that. Then we found out that government is driver of tourism. People make that mistake that the stakeholders are the drivers of tourism. Government is driver. If government does not create an enabling environment, if they don't fund, no policy, nothing will happen. Where the stakeholders come in is collaboration. Take Ethiopian Air. Ethiopian Air is owned by the government 100%, but it's being run by the private 95%. So they say government does not have business. Government has business, but you give people to run it. That is where collaboration comes in. But the driver is the government. So I will advise the governor if they can create a governor tourism council where there will be this kind of small meetings for all the local governments to have to talk and give them tasks on what to do. Because today, what we see today was interesting. Most people never knew all the local governments can come up and do. Thank you very much.
I know you are very passionate about this topic. Thank you. You talk about flagship event. We need a flagship tourism event for your states. Just like we have Ojude Oba or Oyo of Lagos State. We need a flagship event. And collaboration is very key for us for tourism to thrive. Thank you very much to our distinguished panelists and our amazing audience. I don't know if we'll be able to take up any questions. Do we have any questions? Thank you very much for this session.
Please, a round of applause for this panel, members of the panel as well. Can I get a resounding applause, please? Thank you. Please, members of the panel, please stay this way so that we can take the photographs. Paparazzi can please just take the photographs of the panelists and the moderator of that panel. Thank you, panelists and our speakers. And I will say that was indeed an insightful and impactful conversation. Our tourism investors, I believe, have taken notes, and the key players within Oyo State government are poised to take the information, the advice, the admonition you have passed into consideration. And I could see the governor listening keenly to your recommendations. And they work out policies that will make Oyo State benefit from both local as well as international tourism trends.
All right. We have now reached a core part of this summit. We know that some have already been able to go around the exhibition booth in the morning and also seen some of the items on display. But we hope that we can be able to do more of that later on along the show.
It's time right now to welcome the keynote presentation of our Executive Governor, His Excellency Governor Seyi Makinde FNSC. It's titled Unlocking the Tourism Potential of Oyo State through Public-Private Development Partner Collaborations.
And now it is time to listen to the Chief Marketing Officer of Oyo State, the Chief Convener of the International Tourism Summit, Oyo State 2024, our Governor, His Excellency Seyi Makinde FNSC. May we all rise, we're already rising, we're already on our feet, as His Excellency makes his way to the stage to present the keynote address, Unlocking the Tourism Potential of Oyo State through Private-Public Development Partner Collaborations.
Ladies and gentlemen, a standing ovation for His Excellency for bringing us all here to talk. Can we sustain that applause as His Excellency is approaching his podium? Let's sustain that applause for His Excellency. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you. Please let's have our seats. Well, we do have a very long protocol list. I will abbreviate, so I should be forgiven. But even doing that, we have certain individuals here that I cannot but recognize. Your Excellency, the former governor of Cross River State, Dr. Donald Duke. I was at an event yesterday, and they had immediate past, and then they had former, and then former, and then one time governor. I'm counting also. In the next 3 years, I can't wait to become one-time governor of Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Oyo State, Barrister Abdurrahim Adebayo Lawal, thank you for holding everything together, before my arrival. The Honorable Minister of Tourism, Chief Mrs. Lola Adejon, thank you for coming and for encouraging us, because you've demonstrated that this is not about politics, it's not about political parties, it is about expanding our economy through tourism. The former Minister of Industry and the our own Mama, Chief Doctor Mrs. Onikepo Akande, OON, CON. Thank you for agreeing to chair this event. Let me recognize all the people that are working with me, the Chief of Staff, the Head of Service, Deputy Chief of Staff, they are all duly recognized, Honorable Commissioners, and our revered Royal Fathers. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin orí adé, ọrùn lẹ̀kẹ̀, tẹwà níkàlẹ̀, you're duly recognized. Thank you for being a part of this. Also, chairmen and chairpersons of local government areas in Oyo State. Some of you, I think you've taken a break from your various campaigns towards the local government elections. Well, this is a part of what can make your government, make extra money at the local level if you promote tourism. So it's nice that you're here. Our elders and leaders from various geopolitical zones and various walks of life here, you're also duly welcome. Other political functionaries, heads of federal agencies and parastatals, captains of industries, prominent investors. I've listened to some of you here. And let me also specially recognize our Baba, Baba Chief Bayo Oyero. You're specially recognized, sir. And other eminent personalities here. And our moderators, panelists, interviewers, participants for this International Tourism Summit. You're also all duly recognized. Market leaders, artisans, and other trade groups, leaders of various professional bodies, associations, and groups that are here, distinguished invited guests from all around the world, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This presentation is titled Unlocking the Tourism Potential of Oyo State through Public-Private Development Partnership Collaborations. But when you hear the title of the presentation, the key word that you can quickly identify is unlocking. Anytime I'm talking about Nigeria, I always tell people, we have the potential, but those potentials are locked in. So we have to unlock it for us to be able to realize the benefit from those potential. So you immediately imagine a door with a key that fits nicely. And you can open it and just wait for a moment and imagine that you're coming from a hard day at work in the middle of the afternoon. Even in this very hot weather. I'm sure you'll be happy, that a key, if you have a key that unlocks your door. Because on the other side of the door, you are assured of refreshing water and perhaps rest. It will be frustrating if you arrive at the door and discover that you've either lost your key or you have the wrong one. So the situation is similar with investors. Yes, they have their money for investment, At the other side of the door is profit. So the question is always, what is the return on investment? Without the right key to unlock the potential they are seeking, they will not gain access to the expected benefits. So in this presentation, I will share the key that unlocks the door to tourism potential in Oyo State. Various speakers earlier in the day, especially during the opening presentations, discussed partnership opportunities in Oyo State and outlined what the state has to offer. But it is one thing to know what we have and quite another thing to access it. So what is this key? Well, the key is partnership. And I can quickly digress. I was listening to the last panelist, and I think Dr. Honor from Cross River State said he checked the budget of Oyo State and found out that we've appropriated only 1.3 billion for tourism. It is because for us, and I also had somebody mention that government can own 95%. He mentioned Ethiopian airline, but control 5%. Well, maybe in other places it's possible for it to work, but my experience, and remember, this is actually my first public sector job. If you remember, when I was campaigning in 2018, some people said, "Keyi o ṣe kan rí, kò ṣe councillor rí, kò ṣe House of Assembly rí, kò ṣe House of Reps rí, kò ṣe Senator rí, ó fẹ́ ṣe governor, up, step and jump." Well, the Oyo State people gave me the opportunity, even with all of those comments. And one of the things we did when we came in was to test some of this partnership model. We looked at our GRAs and we found out that the roads are not fixed, they are basically slums. And we said, okay, so what can we do? Let's do land swap. And I can be above board. And the first one we did was Lere Adigun GRA. I said, how much do we need to put the infrastructure in place? They gave me the amount. We'll look for people who brought that money, and we gave them land equivalent to that. And at that time, we were still feeling the pulse of what can we really get away with in Oyo State. I gave them each plot for 15 million naira. And we gave them the plots equivalent to how much money they were putting into that infrastructure. 1.5 years later, 18 months, that 15 million naira plot has gone up to over 100 million naira. So that is what model, the type of model that we are saying that if people can bring their money, they must also have control over those enterprises that they put in their money into in Oyo State. So there are 3 types of partnership you can find in Oyo State. The first one is, and That's why Oyo State government, under my watch, we don't do any business. And for some of these land swap deals, if you find out that there's a plot in Sheyi Makinde's name or Sheyi Makinde's proxy's name, please say it on the internet. I will relinquish it. But you won't find any. So we have the public-private partnership, PPP. We have the Public Development Partnership, PDP, not the People's Democratic Party. And you have the Hybrid Partnership. And I'm not talking about PDAPC either. So how do this work? I'll walk you through the process in maybe 1 second. But before I do that, let us take another look at the opportunities. This time, I will discuss those opportunities Oyo State is prepared to work on with relevant stakeholders. We have to show some seriousness, about those investments. So we have commissioned investment advisors to create a document that shows the investment opportunities and projections. So we have produced an investor's handbook that takes a high-level look at this investment, but we're also prepared to take a deep dive into this investment. So what are these investment opportunities we're projecting? In the first instance, we have 6 of them. We have the Ibadan Cultural Center, which is a stone throw from the development that my brother Adedibu mentioned just now. We have the Bowers Tower, the LA Waterfront, Idere Hill, Iyamako Hill, Iyake Suspended Lake. Those are category A, and there are places where we want to put our money and our mouth into. So if you watch the tourism documentary shown earlier, you'll have seen all of these sites and destinations featured. We have done our homework and we have the figures. So a key part of my presentation is sharing those figures with you. Then after I leave here, we will have a high-level investors meeting to discuss these figures and how you can get a slice of the Oyo State tourism investment cake. As you may already know, we do have expectations for these sites and destinations. For example, our minimum expectation is that the Ibadan Cultural Center will be restored to its former glory. And then we project that the entry point for this investment will be about 1 billion naira. So in fact, for each of these sites and destinations, which I will be referring to as the Focus 6, entry points are from about 250 million with expected profit margins of between 50 and 60% yearly, based on 5-year projections. As mentioned, we got a reputable tourism advisory firm to run the numbers. So we have location and marketing appraiser for the Focus 6, as well as proposed project concept and financial appraiser. One of the things that looking at the reports on this site has revealed, and I believe it was also a recurring theme during the sessions today, is the role that government needs to play in fostering the partnership that lead to sustainable development. And I know that if I speak to these investors later today, a big question they'll be asking me is, what are we offering as Oyo State government? So I might as well just address that elephant in the room right away. Under our PPDP arrangement, the primary source of funding for the project is the private investor or development organization. So Oyo State is not saying, oh, come, we have a stack of cash somewhere that we will plow directly into the Focus 6. The key word for me here is plowed directly, because there's also indirect project financing, which is captured and baked into infrastructure development. We're doing just less than 500 meters from here. That's the Agbowo shopping complex. It was handed over by a previous administration, built during Uncle Bola Ige's time. And when I came in, it was already in a very bad shape. And I asked questions, how much are we realizing from this? And it wasn't satisfactory. And we put it out and said, look, investors should come in and invest. So we got the first investor in there. He was just stripping the assets and selling. So I terminated that arrangement. We brought this, they came to me and said, this other individual was the one funding the first guy. So I said, okay, give it to that individual since he is the guy with the money. Again, it didn't work out. But we were determined to take that facility back to its former glory and make it sustainable. So we went and said, look, we will give a guarantee to the bank, and then the bank can give money to the investor. So they are back to site now, and I'm sure in the next 1 or 2 weeks, you will see what we're about to start in there. Yeah, we failed twice before getting to this other point. So we're not afraid to fail. And for our investors here, because we've failed, now we've learned quite a bit, and we can better give you the support that will guarantee success. For example, my brother seated here, Kunle Afolayan, is one of our investors in the film village at Komu, Igbojaye axis. One of the things he asked for was the road linkage, which we promised to do. We're still working on it, because first, under infrastructural development, under Omitutu 1.0, we said link all the zones of Oyo State. And the first project we awarded was to link Ibadan to Okeogun through Moniya Iseyin. And then we linked Oyo Zone to Okeogun Zone through Oyo Iseyin. Those two, they've been commissioned. The next one is to link Ogbomosho Zone to Okeogun Zone through Ogbomosho Iseyin. And that project will be commissioned in the next 5 weeks, 30th of May. So we've started from Iwajowa, Iwerele. It's going all the way to Alaga, and that will make the film village closer to people. But he didn't stop there. He also complained about electricity. Yeah, those are some of the legitimate major concerns for investors. And I sent a transformer. I thought the problem was solved, but just now I was talking to the Honorable Minister of Tourism, and she said yes, we've placed the transformer in there, but the high voltage to connect that site is not there. So we will do it. Because we have to create the enabling environment and lift the burden on our investors so that they can focus on their core, the core areas, that they want to invest in. Well, you may have heard about the rapid development of infrastructure Oyo State is carrying out, including the roads that I already mentioned that will make tourism sites easier to access and contribute to a great user experience. We know tourism receives a greater boost when the government makes it easier for people to get to these destinations. So part of what we're willing to offer well, this has nothing to do with my presentation. They only said I should let everybody know that I'll take a tour of the exhibition booth after my presentation. Well, please, I will take a tour of the exhibition booth after my presentation. So to get to these destinations, what we're willing to offer investors is expanding the activities of the state-run transport service with the Omitutun buses to these areas within and outside Ibadan. Well, I do know that some people may want to go to some of these sites and return to Ibadan the same day. For the Iyake Lake, you can go there and return the same day now through the 65-kilometer Moni Aijaye, Isheyin Road. You can go there, spend some time, and return to Ibadan. And for those trying to get in and out of the Fashola Agribusiness Industrial Hub, we also have the linkage to Oyo and also to Iseyin. Even if you like, fly to Ilorin Airport. Now from 5 weeks from now, you come through Ogbomoso and still get to the same place within 1 hour without getting on any federal road. All of those are state roads. There are no potholes. But we know that sometimes going one day and returning does not give the type of immersive experience that tourists are seeking. That is why one of the main investments we're projecting around these sites is suitable accommodation facilities within close proximity to the tourist site. So to support this, and please hold me accountable on this, we are willing to offer watertight leaseholds to investors. Depending on the investment volume, we can provide decade-long leases, and this is not just talk. Investors at the Fashola Agribusiness Industrial Hub, they know. I had Tony Jibuno, who spoke earlier. We came from the same background. I also, all my life, before this assignment, I was in the oil and gas industry. And with what I've seen, he said he should have started his agribusiness venture earlier. I also wish that I should have done politics from age 30. So Tony understands what we've done at the Fashola hub. We've given them the opportunity, and we've also provided the enabling environment for them, for the businesses in that hub to thrive. And I'm glad you heard him talk about why he chose Oyo State for investment. So we are a forward-looking government, and we are already working towards the Oyo State of the future, where we remain pace setters. So when it comes to providing land for development is prioritized. We have a vision of how we want the state to look, and we're not deceiving ourselves or anyone into believing we will just jump from point A to point B. We're willing to put in the work and work with investors to do so. I also know that investors do face issues with land grabbers and land scammers. One of the panelists that came from the United States, I think she said she got scammed of about $6,000. Well, I hope it's not land related. But I got scammed of $250,000 in South Africa. I invested in a coal mine. This was maybe 15, 16 years ago. Well before I became the governor, so that people will not think maybe I got scammed with Oyo State money. So it does happen. And I see people, I listen to Nigerians badmouth our country, tell people, this is a country of scammers. Yes, they say it. If I'm not a Nigerian, most times when I travel outside and it's time to come back and you just take up the news and read about Nigeria, I will have turned back and go somewhere else. But once, my 26-year-old daughter, I brought her here, and then we decided we were going to Kenya together. And somehow I couldn't make that trip, but she went. And then she came back, and I asked her, so what was the experience like? And she said to me that Nairobi is just an upgraded version of Ibadan, and that Nigeria is Africa's best kept secret. Yes, our leaders may have their own shortcomings, but I can tell you that leaders don't emerge from a vacuum. I'm a creation of this environment. So if we have to change the narrative, it must start from the inside. It must start from us. So, Ms. Ward, I would like to hear your story and see if it's possible for me to assist and recover the money for you. Okay, long time ago. Okay, so maybe that's your own contribution for what some people's ancestors did to our own ancestors and all of that. So So of course, aside from partnership with investors to develop these facilities that support tourism, there are also partnerships with content creators, promoters, and others in the communications and marketing sector. So I'm sure in the weeks and months after this event, the state's communication and marketing consultants will be reaching out to more of this segment to promote the state's tourism sector. For many who have never been to Oyo State, and even for some who live here, some of the tourism destinations mentioned today might seem very new. They may not have even heard of them. So we agree that we need to work with the local communities and others to project this site. I've heard the Honorable Commissioner quoting that we have over 100 of these sites. We're already working on a compilation of this, and we'll commission brochures and other materials that will further promote this site. So that is another partnership to look forward to. And since I will be going to check the booths after, I should be done in the next maybe, perhaps, 3 to 4 minutes, not hours, 3 to 4 minutes. So when I leave here, I'll check the booth, and then I can have engagement with investors. Please come to me, let's talk, and where I can provide enablers to fast-track things, I will do that immediately, because my time on this seat is also counting down. I have 3 more years to go. Maybe, okay, 3 more years and 6 weeks. So we can have that discussion while we're having maybe late lunch or early dinner. But it will be a non-threatening environment. I will ask my DSS, ADC, they should all just leave me with the people. So this only goes to buttress further the point that opportunities exist and in the tourism sector, and if properly harnessed, can lead to prosperity. So I believe this is another way of expanding our economy. Under Omituntun 1.0, we focus on 4 major pillars, and the pillar on expansion of our economy, we focused on agribusiness and development of our infrastructure. But now, under Omituntun 2.0, well, I never knew they were even going to give me the opportunity to come for a second tenure, because just days before the election, I was looking at a video on social media where some people said, well, go and vote the way we normally vote. And from 2007, they were voting against me. So I thought I'm on the same path, but thankfully, Oyo State people gave me the opportunity. And under Omituntun 2.0, we've expanded those areas where we will look after our economy and take our people out of poverty to prosperity. So we've added solid minerals development and tourism, and that is why we're here for this tourism summit. So in conclusion, I have also 2 best kept secrets as well. They are not part of these 6 areas listed, but I've been to Ikere Gorge Dam, and it is also a solid tourism destination. I understand it's the deepest gorge dam on this continent. I'm still trying to verify it because When it's Sheyi Makinde, they challenge me on everything. If I say Oyo State is the biggest cassava producer, Dakwa Abiodun will say, no, it's Ogun State. I should show it to him. If it's the deepest, well, maybe somebody will go to the bottom and try it for us. So I have that, which if you want to visit, the road is bad right now, but if I see an investor, I will fix the road and he will join these other 6. And I also have the Erua agribusiness hub. If you listen to me, the interconnectivity that we've spoken about, we've linked. Oyo State has 5 major zones. We have the Ibadan zone, we have the Oyo, we have the Ogbomoso, Okeogun, and Ibarapa. We've linked Ibadan to Okeogun. We've linked Oyo to Okeogun. We've linked Ogbomoso to Okeogun. We've also linked Ibarapa to Okeogun through, I know Kabiyesi Onidere is here, through the road from Igboora, through Idere, Igangan to Igana. But if I see solid investor also for the Erua farm settlement, farm estate, I will also do the solid road from that farm settlement to Iseyin. The road exists right now. It's supposed to be a corridor coming from Badagry to Sokoto, but it started from Abeokuta and ended at Iseyin. Not too great a road, but I've done my work on it. If I see the investor, you will be immediately linked to the center of the geographic center of Oyo State. So in conclusion, let me thank all again who made it out today to be part of the first International Tourism Summit, Oyo State 2024. I will especially thank my brother, my friend, they said Mr. Tourism himself, Governor Donald Duke. I'm sure now that they've realized what we were trying to do in Calabar. Now they're trying to link Lagos to Calabar. So we have the Lagos to Calabar Road. Though it's still generating a lot of problems, but while that problem is still being generated, Ibadan to Lagos to Ibadan has been fixed, so you can keep coming to Ibadan from Lagos until Lagos to Calabar is ready. So I want to especially thank you for staying with us all through this period, and also for the Honorable Minister. I thank you most sincerely for putting aside any political coloration, to come and be with us to project the tourism potential of Oyo State. And for our Mama, former Minister of Industry, Mama Onikepo Akande, I also thank you. For our panelists from far and near, I'm sorry for the difficulty in getting in, and also for the high visa fee, but I can personally refund the visa fee. And we keep the discussion going, really. if we want external people to come in here, we need to be sensitive to some of these charges. And for investors, those of you that have already invested in Oyo State, I thank you for your confidence in this state, and we promise you that we'll continue to do everything possible, to ensure that your investment is secure and is also expanded. And to all of you who have listened to me blab this past maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes, thank you for listening to me. And thank you, and God bless you.
I'm so sorry.
We thank the Executive Governor. No. We thank the Executive Governor of Oyo State, and thank you so much for that inspiring speech that you gave to us. The Honorable Commissioner for Tourism, His Excellency former Governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, the Minister for Tourism and Culture, the Deputy Governor, and the chairperson of this occasion will join His Excellency on the tour of the exhibition stand. And while the governor will be doing that, it will be time for us to go for our lunch.
And of course, with that, we will be wrapping up for this session to resume the summit at the Governor's Dinner and Awards Night later in the evening.
We say a big thank you to His Excellency for that informative and insightful presentation. Your Excellency, you have indeed raised the bar for other presenters at this summit, just as you have elevated the bar of good governance in Nigeria. We can tell you confidently that we are confident that all the stakeholders present are assured that Oyo State is open for tourism business under Omituto 2.0. We equally believe strongly after this presentation that the private sector and development partners are equally ready to work with the government to make your visions a reality. With that, we've come to the end of day one of the first International Tourism Summit, Oyo State, hashtag it's Oyo State 2024.
Whether you joined us in person or you're one of the so many people that joined us virtually, we hope you enjoyed every bit of this program.
A special shout out to the investors that joined us virtually, coordinated from Birmingham, Alabama. Thank you for reminding us you followed along with your social posts using the hashtag It's Oyo State 2024.
As this session closes, please delegates, let's keep giving His Excellency and the special guests the courtesy of leaving the hall first, please.
As they are going through the exhibition stands.
Yeah.
May we rise in honor of His Excellency and let's join him. You can also go for the lunch at the gallery once we are done here. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow.
And also see you this evening at the Governor's Dinner and Awards Night.
Right, we are being informed that when you get to the gallery for the lunch, you don't need to queue, just go to your seats and sit down. Ensure that you are with your meal ticket, because that's the only way you'll be able to get your meal or lunch. So please, let's endeavor to be there.
Thank you.
Oyo State is blessed with a rich culture and heritage, and people who are friendly to visitors and tourists. Yoruba is the common language spoken here. Our word for welcoming visitors and strangers is Ekabo. The people are about 95% literate. If you speak English, you will be able to communicate easily. You will want to try out our local cuisine. Our favorite is Amala, paired with Ewedu and Begiri, and assorted protein. We eat it by molding the Amala in small portions. Use it to scoop a portion of the soup. Don't just dip it. Watch your dress as you swallow, as you might make a mess. Now that you have food in your stomach, let's explore Oyo State. Ibadan. The name of the ancient city is said to be an elision of Ibadan, the place where caravans met. It is traditionally a nodal town and a city of hills, which explains one of its foremost tourist attractions, Bowers Tower. The tower was built in 1936 in honor of Captain Bower. It was designed by Robert Taffy Jones, a British architectural engineer. Let's take a walk up the spiral staircase of the tower and get to the top, where we get a panoramic view of the city. Makpo Hall was built in 1925, located at the center of Ibadan. It was central to the British administration. It even hosts a political prison on the rooftop. Today, the hall still contains archives of pictures of past and present Obas in Ibadan, and relics of chains used to hold tax evaders during colonial rule. While it still serves as a research resource for scholars, it is more utilized to host state events. From Makpo Hall, let's go northwest to Alayali waterfront, where you can go on a short cruise with the cruise boat, or take a canoe ride and just drift around the water for a while. Now let's visit a few built environments within Ibadan. As nightfall descends, you may be tired and want to call it a day. That's okay. You can choose to stay in any of the hotels and resorts the city has to offer. But just in case you have the energy for nightlife, here are some clubs to check out. Ibarapa? Just 95 kilometers west of Ibadan is Ibarapa, the city of 7 towns, but it is the hills and caves that interest us. Let's go hiking. Idere Hills. You're rewarded with spectacular sights after a 4-hour hike.
Sit down. olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí àǹtí Bísí o ṣòǹgbọ́ àní Suzy àǹtí Bísí o ṣòǹgbọ́ aya mi má má jìnnà sí mi rárá Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi rárá ṣòǹgbọ́ olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí yé Bísí jọ̀wọ́ sẹ́ Olúwa mi o Bísí.
Àǹtí Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi rárá olólùfẹ́ mi ṣé ń gbọ́ òtútù mú swẹ́tà ń kọ́sẹ́ jọ̀wọ́ wá sẹ́
Olúwa mi Bísí yé Olúwa mi o Bísí.
Àǹtí Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi ṣé ń gbọ́ olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí jọ̀wọ́ súré wá òtútù mú mi o Bísí o yé ẹ tí mi o ṣé ń gbọ́ Àǹtí Bísí ẹ tí mi o ṣé ń gbọ́ ìjà ló dé lórí wádọ̀wé Bísí
yé olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí àǹtí ẹtí jọ̀wọ́ súnmọ́ mi yó ṣé ń gbọ́ ìjà ló dé lórí wádọ̀wé ṣé ń gbọ́.
Bísí jọ̀wọ́ lólùfẹ́ mi ṣé ń gbọ́ sẹ́. Bísí jọ̀wọ́ lólùfẹ́ mi o ṣé ń gbọ́. Má má fi mi sí ẹ̀jẹ̀ jọ̀wọ́. Olúwa mi òtútù mú o swẹ́tà ń kọ́sẹ́ àníṣe wá bomi lára Bísí. Yé Olúwa mi o Bísí jọ̀wọ́ má má jìnnà sí mi rárá má má jìnnà sí mi Bísí o yé
olólùfẹ́ mi o Bísí àníṣe Olúwa mi o Bísí má jẹ ìyà jẹ mí Bísí jọ̀wọ́ súnmọ́ mi o má yẹ jà mí Bísí ìjà ló dé o lórí wádọ̀wé Bísí àǹtí ẹtí ìjà ló dé lórí wádọ̀wé Bísí àǹtí ẹtí ìjà lórí wádọ̀wé Bísí ṣé ń gbọ́ Olúwa mi o Bísí yé Bísí jọ̀wọ́ o bàbá Bísí o Olúwa mi Bísí yé Olúwa mi Bísí.
Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́ sẹ́. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́ sẹ́. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́. Jọ̀wọ́ súnmọ́ mi o. Má jọ̀nà jí. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́. Olúwa kẹ́mi ńkọ́ sẹ́. Corner, baby. Wuru wuru, baby. Waka waka, baby. Suku suku, baby. I go tell mama, oh. He go tell papa, oh. Wuru wuru, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you are lucky, you will meet musicians with their bata drums and they will follow you, singing your praises. Don't get tired yet. We will be making one more stop here in Ibarapa. This time we will be visiting the Igbaolofi Rock and Cave at Lanlate.
foríṣiríṣi àrùn kò sóògùn fowú jíjẹ ògùn wà foríṣiríṣi àrùn kò sóògùn fowú jíjẹ borí bá ń fọ́ ni bàbá lògùn sí á lọ bẹ́yìn ń dènìyàn bó bá lògùn sí á lọ òjòwú lójòwú títí lójòwú ọkàn ga kò má sóògùn fowú jíjẹ. Foríṣiríṣi àrùn kò sóògùn fowú jíjẹ ògùn wà foríṣiríṣi àrùn kò sóògùn fowú jíjẹ borí ń fọ́ ni bàbá lògùn sí á lọ bẹ́yìn ń dènìyàn bó bá lògùn sí á lọ òjòwú lójòwú títí lójòwú ọkàn ga kò má sóògùn fowú jíjẹ. Kèrìkèrìkèké òun la pa ọ́ ìdílò òun akẹ́kẹ́ àyà ṣáṣá ọ̀bẹ́kẹ́ òun la pa ọ́. Ó lé kèrìkèrìkèké òun la pa ọ́ ìdílò.
Onídòdò oní mọ́ínmọ́ín onídòdò oní mọ́ínmọ́ín nígbà tí yóò ta tó gbé pákálẹ̀ o ẹ wá wò ṣá ní láfíà yìí.